This is Patrick from WSOU 89.5 FM, the loudest rock, here with Nik Nocturnal. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. So let's get right into it. You are a YouTuber, a content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call it, but you are also a metal guitar player. When did you start uploading to YouTube?
Thank you for the kind words. Most people don't even know I play guitar nowadays. Yeah, when I started playing YouTube, I think it was technically, the first video I have on my channel is 2014, but I did upload to YouTube, I think like before on like a different channel. So technically 2013 or maybe 2012, but 2014 is the recorded one.
Yeah, and some of your earliest videos were guitar covers. When did you start playing guitar, and what kind of pushed you to start uploading these videos online?
Yeah, I started playing guitar. I live with my cousin, and he would play music, and that's how I got into metal. And then one day he got Guitar Hero, basically, and yeah, I love Guitar Hero. Played it all day, and I was like, all right, well, I like music and I like Guitar Hero. Like, let's try to play guitar. It's basically a very long story, kind of short, and I just kind of fell in love ever since I started, and it was a huge grind for many years. And then wanting to post on YouTube was, years has passed. So I started playing guitar when I was like, I think 9 or 10. And then, it was like 3 or 4 years past that, I started watching YouTube and all of that, and seeing dudes, like Killer Buckeye or Finn Maxwell, and like a lot of instrumental guys actually writing instrumental music, but then also doing, covers. So I was like, well, that's really cool. And at that point I was like using Audacity and like trying to write songs and like stuff like that to figure it out. And I was like, well, that just looks cool. Like, let's try it. I already learned songs all day. That's basically all I do. I just don't film myself and post it, but okay, like, why not? Let's try it. And then also it's a place to release original music that wasn't just SoundCloud, which was all I was using at the time.
Yeah, totally. And you mentioned before how Guitar Hero kind of got you into rock music and guitar in general. What else kind of got you into metal guitar, and what were some of your influences early on?
Oh yeah, that was the same thing. It was just being in my cousin's room all day playing video games, and he would first introductions. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was like Alexis on Fire, Under Oath, Avenged Sevenfold, and then he threw on like some As I Lay Dying, and that was when I really was like, whoa, what is this metalcore thing? And then that ruined me for the rest of my life, because now I just like breakdowns and that's it. And yeah, it was basically that, just listening through my cousin playing stuff, and then getting really into these bands and into this style, and that was just a big influence starting off. And I still listen to literally all those bands today.
Yeah, and a lot of those bands were what you were covering on YouTube early on, but you started to kind of transition from covers. Obviously you still do a lot of covers, but you transitioned to a lot of video reactions and a little more comedy type content. What made you kind of transition from the pure covers to doing a little bit more?
I got burnt out, man. I just, I did it for 5 years straight, and it was great. Every day just being like, yo, what's out? What's coming out? And as I think I just took YouTube a bit more seriously, I also was like, it was a mix of, I got just burnt out, but also I was getting sick of like, oh, my content's kind of dependent on what the music industry does today. And it's like, kind of just want to like make stuff sometimes and not have it only rely on, oh, is there a cool song that comes out? And also just seeing, I think it was just time. I wanted to grow, and I wanted to try new things. I wanted to experiment, because I grew a love for YouTube at that time, at that point, and not just wanting to, play guitar and not just loving metal, but I also love YouTube. So I was like, well, okay, let's like explore. Let's try stuff. I saw homies like Jared Dines and Anthony Vincent, and a lot of other dudes doing like this cool different stuff, and Jared Alonji too back then. I was like, okay, well, like, let's, I'm not the funniest dude, and I'm pretty awkward on camera, and I'm introverted, but let's see what happens. And that's kind of what started me going into that, and then reactions. That's what started me just basically becoming kind of like a variety metal channel now.
Yeah, and you are part of the ever-growing online heavy metal guitar community. Like, when I think about it, it's probably the most niche thing that has such a huge following. I remember in high school watching Jared Dines and Rob Scallon and Fluff and you. And what's special to you about the guitar community and metal community on YouTube that you become a part of?
Yeah, I feel it's interesting because like there is definitely there's overlap, but there is two very distinctive. Like here is the guitar community. You do guitar stuff, and sometimes you just cover like classic rock stuff, or you talk about it, or a lot of it's talking about scales and educational things like techniques, and those are big YouTubers that do that. Like Rick Beato is more of a production YouTuber, but he just talks about everything. But like Adam Neely, um, drawing a blank on all the guitarist names. There's a lot of really good ones that are doing just like guitar stuff, and then there's again sometimes they do like metal stuff too. But then there's like just like the metal YouTubers kind of, and I feel like Jared was a great kind of blend with both worlds, and you know same thing like Stevie T and a lot of the other guitar like Fluff, right? Like you mentioned, right? That did kind of the blend, which is great. I think I love those communities. I think they're so important, and it's cool to see them grow over the years and see the metas shift of what people are trying to do. And you know it makes sense. You got to grow, you got to innovate, you got to change, because if you just keep copy pasting what you know the people at the top of the game have been doing for the past 5 years, it gets stale. So it's yeah, it's a lot of people are starting to try new stuff, but there is a very big influx of people just doing reactions, which also I feel like has been limiting the amount of innovation happening. And I know I'm partially to blame for that because I do a lot of reactions, and I definitely contribute to the reaction pool. But yeah, it's an interesting place now. It's definitely different than it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and like you said, there's definitely some overlap between, you know, guitar community and metal community. What content do you like to make that you think will help musicians like yourself, just guitar players?
Oh, guitar players specifically. I love doing the educational stuff. That's also why I just taught. Like I literally did private lessons. I taught people for like a good few years, just online, and I feel like that satisfied that for me. So I didn't really feel the need to like make YouTube content, and also just kind of weird because like as much as I love the infotainment, as you know, it's called like informational entertainment stuff. I was also like you know, people that are here just for breakdowns don't really care about like what a sharpened fifth is, or you know like what major to minor harmonic minor is. Um, so and that's where I started to realize that was a tough crossroad for me because I was like, do I want to be a guitar YouTuber, or do I want to be like a metal YouTuber, or do I want to do this hybrid thing and try to figure it out? And I started to realize I liked watching a lot of things at that time much more that was just talking about music. I was much more into commentary things, and a lot of the things that actually that had nothing to do with metal or music, just like the big YouTubers and streamers were kind of doing, just talking about video games and like that. And I was like, that is tough if I limit myself in the specific guitar field, because anything I talk about, there has to be, you know, guitar in it, and there has to be an importance of it, and you know, it has to be uniquely interesting. And I mean, a lot of modern metal doesn't even have sometimes guitar in it. So that's where I had to kind of make a choice, and I went with the choice of just being a metal overall channel. But obviously, you know, I'm a guitarist. I love doing guitar covers. I love doing guitar related things. But I know that that's maybe not the base of my community anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And what content do you like to make that really kind of satisfies the metalhead in you, and you think caters to your metalhead viewers?
I mean, reactions, I guess, definitely do that, but all of it, like that's the thing. I do it because it's all fun. Like I like the reactions because it's fun, and I get to keep up to date with stuff. I like the commentary stuff too because I think it's important just to discuss. And even if people hate my opinion on everything, like I don't really like, that's fine. But at least it's talked about and we can discuss. A lot of that too, I get out on Twitch, sometimes more so than YouTube. Like we'll just be like news review, like what happened. Let's talk about metal. Like that to me is the most fun type of content. Is just talking about this stuff as a fan of this, and having an audience to talk to it with is awesome, right? Even if they don't agree with me sometimes, and that's totally cool. You know, that's what I like. I like learning new things, understanding the scene, seeing what's happening, seeing the shifts and things. But then at the same time, even though being on the commentary side and the reaction side, being able to be like, okay, I see what's happening and I understand this, but I actually can go implement this now in my projects and in my bands. Like I know what the new metas are like every single time because I have to listen. I have to, but like I want to listen to music every Friday or when I do reactions, and I'm like, As soon as I see reactions, oh, they're using the Digitech whammy for everything. Oh, I know what tuning everyone's using now usually. All right. You see the meta shifts. Oh, everyone's using a little bit of thal in their songs. Like, okay. Right. Oh, trap metal's finally maybe getting some love after like 30 years. So it's like that's a big advantage I think I'm able to take from that commentary area that I feel like satisfies the metalhead in me and my audience a lot. But then I can also be like, hey, here's a new Termina track of just all the stuff that I actually like that's going on that a lot of my community also seems to like. So
Yeah, and you just mentioned Termina because you aren't just a guitar YouTuber, you're also a recording musician with your band Termina. You released your first song, Lucid, back in 2019. What inspired this project?
Um, it's just so funny because it started with it ties back to Down and Dirty, which is always really weird to talk about. But Down and Dirty, the band, there was a vocalist in there for a bit, Ezekiel. He was the last one, one of the last ones in there that did like Heaven Sent, like that was on Sumerian officially, like the last big song they kind of threw out there. And things weren't working out. He left, but we were talking already during that time, and he was looking for an instrumentalist apparently and want to do stuff. And I was like, I mean, I've only done like instrumental stuff for myself and worked with vocalists, like, but like before, but I never had like a that band online thing, because I didn't really have time. But I was like, all right, like let's try it. Didn't really work out with Ezekiel. He's great. He's doing tattoo stuff. He's still a buddy of mine. Then I was like, okay, well now I have these instrumentals that are meant for a vocalist. Who do I hit up? And it was no brainer for me. I knew Andy. I was just like, Andy, you want to do this? Sent him the demos, and in 5 minutes he said yes. I was like, okay, I guess this is Termina now. And then Lucid was just the first song we wrote together that wasn't involving a previous demo, actually.
Yeah, and early last year, you released your first full-length album with Termina called Dysphoria. What was your experience like recording your first full-length record? Definitely a transition from guitar covers to a whole album.
Yeah, it wasn't too crazy for me because I was already recording my own music, like through Nik Nocturnal and stuff. Like I already did like a full. I started releasing albums in like 2015, like just doing solo instrumental stuff. The only difference was now there's another person there, and I was like, oh, like same process. I'm sitting here at home recording, and I'm better at editing now. I'm better at tracking. I'm better at songwriting, and there's new things going on and new tech. So utilizing that wasn't too hard. But yeah, just here's another factor. Like, oh, I'm working with a dude that like it's me and him. It's I'm writing the instrumental, he's doing the vocals, but then we're also going back and forth trying to figure out what works best for all these songs. Which even that wasn't something super new because even in my instrumental stuff, I had vocalists on some of the tracks to get that dynamic because I also just wanted some songs with vocalists. But yeah, it was new, but also the same. This is the best way I can describe it with that format that me and Andy had. But also Andy's just so easy to work with, so it was, if anything, easier sometimes than before.
Yeah, and I've noticed about YouTubers, you're all your own boss, and your whole career is making content for your viewers, but also for yourself. How does working with someone else in a project like Termina kind of impact your creativity as opposed to working on your own for YouTube?
Oh, I think it's good because I mean, if you're in a normal band situation, you hopefully have everybody that's involved creatively, and like, they all add to this space, and then you get cool ideas you never would have thought of. So I think adding one person to start off with that was like consistent for me was great, just because like I already am so used to doing everything creatively myself. So just having someone to bounce ideas back and forth to and be like, hey, does this work? And you're like, maybe not. And then them bringing ideas that inspire inspire maybe me to do something different, right? That's something I think that was really good and healthy that I haven't been able to take advantage of for a long time because I am just I've done internet stuff, and I had been in like little high school bands before, but not really to the extent of like writing cool songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, and as someone who's a YouTuber who uh, religiously listens to new music on Friday, and you said you noticed all the trends and the shifts and things like that. What are some trends that you're noticing in rock and metal right now that you think are the most interesting and are going places?
Oh yeah, I got one here. I got you. So it's one of the trends. It's one of the trends. Also ties to this pedal. All right, I know this is on radio, so people can't see it. Digitech whammy thing. Yeah. Literally, even today, ADTR's new song, 50-50 split. This is a big trend for some bands now. They're using 6 strings and they're doing like a 50-50 split octave thing. super popular trend, as well as just fully octave pitch shifting in general is ginormous now,
Mhm.
which is cool because I like that. Like I like the freedom to like just like play in whatever tuning and kind of add dynamics of like I want lower things. Okay, well, button, who cares if the whole song's in the same tuning? You don't need that, right? So that's a ginormous trend. Breakdowns are back, which is cool. I like that they're, you know, heavy. I feel like deathcore kind of gave metalcore a little kick in the butt to be like, hey guys, we're doing really heavy stuff. You guys kind of got to up your game a little bit over there. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of pitch shifting, a lot of low tuning still, a lot of interesting noises. It's definitely a race to who can make the weirdest noises. Vocally similar in the sense of it's a race to who can make the most weird, craziest noises with a high viral potential, I think. Um, and then other than that, just a lot of electronics are now involved, like obviously computers and everything, but like actual electronic elements, layers, soundscapes that are electronic. That's a big trend going on, as well as just weirdly on the side, like pop punk is kind of back and like emo. So a lot of bands are also copy pasting a little bit of that and trying to blend it in. Like bands that have never touched it before are trying to do that. So it's an interesting blend of things happening. And then there's the heavier scene, which is just doing that times like, you know, three and just going crazy extreme, pushing as far as heavy as chaotic as it can kind of be. A lot of bands in the deathcore scene. So yeah, it's an interesting time for metal. I feel like right now they're trying to figure out what's happening. And a year from now, it's going to be a more stable of like, oh, this is what bands are kind of doing in the scene.
Yeah, and what elements are you seeing now that maybe didn't exist a few years ago, kind of coming to the surface? What kind of elements like that are you seeing in metal that you're starting to use in your music?
Pitch shifting.
Hmm.
That is a ginormous one. Pitch shifting electronic elements. And then also just treating heaviness as more of an emotional art and even breakdowns instead of just here is the breakdown sometimes. I'm starting to see that a lot more. Like it's becoming more artsy and unique ways to pull some of these heavier moments off, but blending them with melodic moments, like emotional things and melodic things blending more with the heavy world. And I think like as people are still trying to figure how to, you know, tread those waters and make it work. Some bands have got it down. Some bands are still like, you know, figuring it out. But that's something that's definitely for me and Termina and what we've been doing that I have a lot of focus on is blending the worlds of heavy, you know, having the heaviest of heavies, but also having the most chill of chills and connecting them through emotionally everything being heavy. And that being the link between those two worlds for me.
Yeah, totally. And this next question is one of our favorite questions to ask at WSOU. So, if you could pick one Nik Nocturnal song or Terminus song, just a song that you've made, if you could pick one song you've worked on to send out to aliens for them to listen to, which one do you think it would be?
Oh, aliens. Definitely something with the pitch shifter. Yeah, I think they would go hard with. I mean, like I know it's the newest song, but I feel like they would still probably go hardest with Translucent. You know, it's got some groove. I don't know how groovy aliens are. They might get down with that. Um, it's got some noises. They definitely will like harmonics. I feel like they get down with the harmonics. So that is the craziest noises song we have. There are some songs on the first album too that go really crazy with noises, but yeah, I guess we'll say Translucent. There's some songs on this album we're working on that definitely aliens would go hard with, much harder, but they are not out yet.
Okay. So finally, we're running out of time here, but what's next for you, Nik Nocturnal?
Oh damn, I don't know. I gotta check my calendar today, man. It's a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah. So I try to separate my life into two things, career wise, whatever we want to call this, existing wise. There's like my original stuff I'm working on, and then there's like the content creator space I'm working on. So the original stuff, I mean, Termina's in the works. We're working on the next single right now to get it out as soon as we can. Finishing up the album. I'm working on Nik Knock, which is my trap metal project. Because why not? Just having some fun doing like thal trap and deathcore trap or whatever I'm doing over there. Also working on a project with Phil from All That Remains to do some nostalgic 2000s metalcore stuff, which I'm very excited about. And that's kind of like the original music realm, and then like the content creator space. I mean, I'm just trying to be consistent with YouTube, keep up with reactions, just in the sense of keeping up with new songs, and a way to share that with my audience of like, hey, this is out. I guess I'll do it through the medium of a reaction. But also, fun YouTube content, like the scene videos I do, or like compilation videos I do, or more skit videos, covers, all that. On Twitch, keeping up with music, commentary, news, writing songs on there, building that, pushing that, and yeah, just in general, kind of creating a healthy cycle between all that stuff, where both of those worlds inspire each other and keep me wanting to wake up and be super stoked to do this stuff.
Yeah, sounds great. So Nik, thank you for doing this. You can find Nik Nocturnal on YouTube and Twitch. Is it a different username on Twitch?
So it's all Nik Nocturnal. Yeah.
All Nik Nocturnal, and check out Termina's music as well. Nik, anything else you want to add?
No, yeah. Much love to anyone who supported my weirdness for over all the years, and I hope they like breakdowns, because we got some coming.
All right, fantastic. Nik, thank you. This is Patrick with WSOU 89.5.